If Russia don't respect the border of Ukraine, Ukrainian army will not respect the border of Russia. It's absolutely understandable by most of the people. The difference is that Russia is normal democratic country which respects the right of the people.
Ukraine's incursion into Russian territory in the Kursk region seems to have taken Moscow by surprise. It is the first invasion of its territory since 1941 and seems to have shocked Ukraine's allies too. So how will Russia react to this military blow and also the symbolic blow of an incursion some 30 kilometres into their land? Sergei Markov is a Russian political scientist at Moscow State University and a former advisor to President Putin. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I think it's fair to say that this is a huge blow for Russia, and it must be a humiliation for President Putin. Is that how you see it?
Yes, that's right. It's humiliation for Vladimir Putin, and people, of course, are not happy. There are dozens of thousands of refugees from those regions. And a lot of millions of people are taking part in the taking some kind of humanitarian aid to those people, and it's clear that already during the week Russian army not able to handle this problem. Even more, this morning we know that some of the region in the Belgorod region, also nearby Ukrainian border, also they started evacuation. So it's a real problem, but it's not unique, because juridically you're right that from World War II it's a first invasion to Russian territory. But frankly speaking, all the situation in Ukraine we regard it as aggression against Russian people, because Ukraine, from our point of view, it's 1,000 year part of the Russia.
Okay.
And 80% of the Ukrainian people, they are Russians. And we can see that United States of America organized killing of Ukrainian democracy and imposing anti-Russia terrorist regime.
The people, I thought they were Russian speaking rather than Russian.
Russian speaking, most of them are Russians. It means they have Russian identity, as they regard themselves as part of the Russia. And the Ukraine is part of the Russia, as you know, like Ural during the many years and so on. So this is a little bit artificial idea to say that Ukrainians, they are not Russian.
Right.
Ukrainians are Russian.
Okay.
Like people in London and Birmingham, they are British.
Okay. I just wanted to get your reaction to this. You know, why Kursk? Why this has happened? President Zelensky says that this has happened because they're trying to defend themselves, because there were 2,000 cross-border attacks by Russia from Kursk just this summer. And that is the reason why they've had to go in.
No, of course he is lying. It's another issue. Vladimir Zelensky preparing for the possible peace negotiation. Everybody understands that Americans has two possible reasons to push situation to the peace. One reason is if Donald Trump will be the president. Another, if election committee of the Kamala Harris want to make the peace because this situation of making concern a lot of Americans. This war, Ukrainian war, a lot of concern for Americans. So maybe Zelensky will be forced to come to the peace deal. And Vladimir Putin formally very clear: any peace agreement should take the reality on the land. And
so one thing I don't understand. Okay, that's really interesting, Sergei. What I don't understand though is how by saying what he has said, President Zelensky, how by saying that there have been 2,000 cross-border attacks by Russia from Kursk this summer, how is that preparing for a ceasefire arrangement?
Vladimir Zelensky want to take control of some of the territories of the Kursk region and also Belgorod region, also Bryansk region. We expect that he will try to do it in a few weeks for exchange on those territory which is under the control of Russian army, first of all in Kharkov region, and partly possible Zaporozhye and Khersonsk regions.
Right. Okay. I just want to play you a clip, if I may, Sergei Markov. You'll know the name Oleksiy Goncharenko. He's a Ukrainian MP. And we asked him, because we knew we were going to be speaking to someone representing Russia, we asked him what message he had for Russian leaders considering their response.
So finally, after 900 days of full-scale invasion, you recognize that international borders matter. We also think so. So leave Ukraine and the war is finished. It's very easy. So we have all the right to protect ourselves with all the means we have and wherever we need to do it, because it was not us who started this war.
So his point, obviously, is that, you know, you can't respect borders one day, but not another.
It's reasonably, of course, if Russia don't respect the border of Ukraine, Ukrainian army will not respect the border of Russia. It's absolutely understandable by most of the people. The difference is that Russia is normal democratic country which respects the right of the people. Let's imagine a very simple example, which maybe don't know absolutely your audience. During 8 years, after the military coup of Ukraine, when democratic regime had been overthrown, and beginning of this war, during 8 years on the Russian TV, during the talk show, which you know very popular also in Russia, every day in the 5 or 6 talk show, Ukrainian point of view has been represented. So it means that hundreds of times it had been represented. But in Ukraine, in no one program, Russian position hadn't been represented. It's absolutely clear that Russia much more free country than Ukraine, and so Russia has to send a troop not for taking control,
all right. So you're all right. I just want to conclude there that you're saying that it's okay to invade Ukraine because Russia is a democracy and Ukraine is not. I mean, many people, you know, do not agree with you. 88%, 90% of people apparently voted for Vladimir Putin, but you think that is a genuine sign of a democratic state.
It's absolutely clear that Ukraine is neo-colony regime, and you know some like junta in South Vietnam and South Korea during the war, and it was also elections, and people also American also saying, oh. Vietnamese elected their president, but it was not true.
Sergei,
it was lie. Same lie with Ukraine.
Okay, Sergei, thank you. Sergei Markov is a Russian political scientist at Moscow State University, former advisor to President Putin, saying there that, yes, borders do need to be respected unless they're Ukraine's, because Ukraine, you've heard it before, is not a democratic state, of course, which you know, many countries, including, well, the list is huge, America, the United Kingdom, do not accept.
He said it was understandable that Ukraine would attack Russia, which I think probably goes to the point that they regard might as the only important thing when it comes to relations like that. He said that most people in Ukraine were Russians, which does raise the question, why have they killed so many of them as well? But this idea that this is very firmly believed, a couple of people are getting claimed, why do you have someone from Russia on? Because actually, it's important to know what they say. It's important to know how they justify it. Their justification is that Russia is a free country, a democracy, and Ukraine isn't. And Ukraine is filled with Russians. And that's why it's justifiable to get in to attack them in their way. They don't necessarily mind being attacked back because they see themselves as engaged in a war. That came across very, very clearly. He wasn't angry that Ukraine were making an incursion. He kind of seemed to accept that.
He agreed it was humiliating.
Yeah, and it was humiliating for Putin. It's kind of an understandable thing that happens in war. But that's the justification that Russia says to itself and to the world. And I think it's probably quite important to hear that. Some people think you should never hear from the enemy in a war. But how do you ever understand what precisely has happened? This is going to end in some way or other, and Russia are going to have agency in how it ends. And so you might as well learn precisely what they're saying and what they think. Anyway, really interesting from Sergei Markov there.